Now, my Make Me Good at Golf journey, I've been crying out for a biomechanist. Now I have found the best in the business, BioJack. And my first question to you, BioJack, is what is a biomechanist?
So essentially what we do is we look at the way the body moves and try and work out if there's a more efficient way to do that. We can assess people's movement patterns and then try and build new movement patterns neurologically, or we can just basically see where they're restricted or not moving well and try and increase that movement as much as possible.
Okay, so do you see any issues with what you're working with here?
Not at all. There's a lot of positives to work with this body. I've talked about it before, but yeah, we know that we can get some control there, and we're going to try and figure out how to do it today.
Okay, excellent. Let's do it. Okay, BioJack, we've played together now. You've seen me on course. What did you see? What did you like? What did you not like? Go easy.
No, I liked that you got there early as well. I enjoyed that. I was on the range and you rocked up, and that was one of not many that turned up early. So no, that was good. It showed that you were keen to get some balls hit, get some movement in the body. What I really liked on course was you were able to adapt quite quickly, in that you knew that you had to soften certain things to be able to execute. And when you did figure that out, you were able to retain that information. That's a really important thing. It's not so much about just learning how to do it once, it's doing it repeatedly. And that's some positives there as well. Some things we could work on, obviously thoracic movement, and just that slight bit of awareness of where your body is in posture, because during the swing, you tend to move up and down a bit. So if we can keep it stable, then it's a lot easier game.
Okay, and what's the best way of keeping it stable? Is it like concentrating on the head, like head looking at the ball, or is that, what are the things we're going to work on?
I can tell you to look at the ball. I can tell you to hold your hands in a certain position, but essentially, as you start moving in a dynamic posture, you're going to start moving around.
Yeah.
So the best way to do that is to try and train the body that that's a comfortable position to be in. Try to train the strength around the different structures. And that's what we're going to spend a lot of time doing today. Trying to feel comfortable there. And then we're going to try and execute it on the sims as well.
Great. All right.
Awesome. Let's get into it. All right. So before I do anything, I always just like to see how you're hitting them today. So let's forget
7-iron a good club, is it?
7-iron is a great start. Basically, a lot of times people will think that I'm trying to assess where the ball's going to end up or the way the ball flight's moving and things like that. What I first look for is just how the body's moving. So let's have a look. We always look at two angles. We look at down the line, which is where I am now. This is where I sort of start getting some vision of this as well. We never want to guess. We always want to try and properly assess. So, any aches or pains today while we're doing this?
Body's feeling like it's 21 years old again.
You've been playing pretty well recently. What do you find is working so well for your golf game?
I think the time and effort I'm putting into it, to be absolutely honest,
Yep.
and I'm a bit more focused on around the greens of actually trying to, do the work before I actually make the putt.
Yep, perfect.
Oh,
Okay. So Pete's going to tell me that that wasn't a good shot. He's not going to feel good about that result. And one of the things we always get caught up in as golfers, you want to try and get a good result. You want to see where the ball goes. There's lots of factors that can affect that aren't in your control, like wind direction, where it lands, all these sorts of things. But what we try and do is try and control the things we can, all right? So one of the aspects I've always talked about with you is when your body's warm, it's good. So let's try and keep that as a mindset as well. But if we look at the actual swing through here, one of the aspects that I always tend to look for first is a swing characteristic. We don't call it a fault anymore because it's not a fault. Swing characteristic called early extension. So basically we look at the glute line there. We bring the video forward. You do come off the line slightly here, but really in your downswing, that's where you bring all that pelvis forward, okay? You come forward through there. Now, why that's relevant is if I set up for the ball, I'll just stand in front of me there. So again, we always try and assess how someone learns as well. Are you a visual learner or are you a feel learner? And we try and change the setting based on that. So I know that you do learn from visual and you do learn from both feel as well, but you are a visual person. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you as well. If I set up here and I take the club back into my normal swing, that's okay. And on the way down, I can still feel that I've got that space. If I early extend, if I come forwards here, all of a sudden I've shortened the space from my pelvis to the ball. Okay, and when that happens, it's very hard for me to swing in to out and basically at a nice, easy, uniform, neutral path. So my body has to turn all as one, okay? One of the things we worked on with you today, in fact, was trying to loosen off the hands as much as possible and let the body turn naturally instead of forcing it around. So for the next few, just going to let it come a little bit more turn, a little bit more easy. And again, not trying to pull too hard, not trying to come too forwards, just basically hit at 70% and just see how the body feels from there. Looking at something like this, I've given him a goal that hits 70% of the distance of how far he can go. And what his body's going to work out is that when he does turn to that 70%, or turns his body to that 70%, thoracic spine eases up, everything gets nice and fluid and nice and fair. And his distance is going to be exactly the same as when he's trying to hit 100. So it's going to start putting in his mind that it's okay to swing a little bit easy. I don't have to attack this ball. Basically, the ball is going to get in the way of the club. And it's really dependent on how much he can control this body. So essentially, we're going to be working on building that strength and that feel of what it feels like when it's in the right spot. And then we're going to go work with the swing coach and say, hey, this is what we've got the body doing. Now you can work on where you need to be with that as well. Good, much better. When we start talking about face angle and path and things like that as well, it's always going to change the way you do things. But what I want to do first is just feel comfortable moving in that way, okay? So moving on from this session, I can see that you're able to at least keep your body somewhat stable, but we're going to work on that control as much as possible. So this is going to go into a little bit of thoracic turn and core control. So let's do that. Let's see how well you can move. Drop the club down there for a second. We're going to go back and do some TPI testing, okay? For that first test we did a few weeks ago, do you remember what your score was?
Yeah, no, I don't actually.
29. It was
29.
Yeah, it was bang on, but there was a lot of good that I liked there. And one of the good things you were able to do was what I'm about to show you. So let's see if we can still do it. Just jump down into basically a 5-iron posture. And I want you to keep your shoulders and everything else still and just move your pelvis, tuck and extend, just like that. Good. Keep going through there. So what I'm looking for here is, can he actually move it both ways, first of all? He can. Can he move it without moving his shoulders? Not as well. I'm going to hold here just to give him some feedback, and all of a sudden he can do it perfectly, okay? So it's not quite a pass, but definitely a lot more control.
The hips don't lie.
What his handicap shows. So that was one of the things I really enjoyed when you did this for me first, because apart from the fact it looks very funny, it's actually a really good way to keep control on that pelvis as much as possible. So we can do it standing up. Can we do it in different postures? That's what we're going to check now. Lie on your back for me. There we go. Bend your knees so your feet are flat. And I've got your club here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in between your legs, just like this. I'm going to slowly bring it up here. And I want you to just lift up the part of the body it's about to touch, but nothing else. So you've got to keep this nice and tight, switched on. And I just want you to basically lift up your butt cheeks off the floor. Good, back down. So you see what happens through there. If you come from around the front there, essentially, go again for me. That's better. Second one was better. That's it. And go again there for me. Good, much better. One of the things that I've seen with Pete over the last few weeks has been his ability to adapt really quickly. He can actually get some good movement there, but it's about doing it and repeating on the course time to time, okay? So we're going to go a bit higher now. So we moved up through the through the glutes. Now we're going to work up a little bit higher to that lower back. Can you move up a touch more? And you see the way I'm moving here? I'm just trying to get back down again. So essentially, up again, good. It's more of a rock than anything else. You're not actually lifting, basically just rotating the pelvis. Go again there for me. Good. Turn back down. And this one and one more here. Good. Excellent. Okay. Stand up for me. Now with that feel in mind, that's your club, sorry. With that feel in mind, just want you can put the club here, that's fine. Arms across, and I just want you to do that tuck and extend again. Just see if you find it any easier. Good. Lean over a touch more as if you actually, there you go, that's it. Good. So what we've done on the floor is we've given him the feel of what it feels like to stay in position and move the right thing. Instead of trying to lift the whole body, is now just moving just the pelvis. Okay, let's have a shot. Let's see what happens. Yeah, the result was good. We like that. We can look at the other factors we'll go into a little bit later. but early extension was much less, okay? So we're able to not completely remove it, but take away a lot of that early extension. One more. Now we're gonna work on the second aspect, which is that, all right, impact. When you change the pelvis, when you change anything, so we've dealt with this with other golfers as well, when you try and change your posture, if a coach tells you, I want you to be a bit more over, a bit this, that's all well and good. And it's a great thing that the coach is trying to do to get you in a neutral position, but your body's never been used to that, right? So we try and train that pathway to be a bit more like front of mind. So essentially from now, what you're gonna do is you're going to let that happen just like you were, still keeping that core controlled, but I want you to do what we did at the course, which is really loosen your wrists as much as possible, okay? And this will factor in. Now this is where we're not giving swing advice, we're not giving swing tip advice. What I'm trying to do is get you to feel what happens when you do loosen off your wrists. Great. Go again. And it changes your tempo a little bit, which is fine. Your body will just work that out. That was closer. I know the result was a little bit right, but it was much closer than what we're doing. Now, the reason I'm getting you to do this is if you keep your hands stiff and tight, you try and turn back. One, it's very hard to separate your upper and lower body, so you're never going to be able to get down there. But two, you're going to feel you have to turn so much more, okay? A lot of your turn and a lot of your lift through your arms is going to happen through the forearms. So that's soft. The softer that is, it'll basically feel like you're barely moving, okay? And that's what I want you to feel to tie everything together. Very good. Excellent. So distance increases. The miss is not as bad. It's not going as right. Much better. More dynamic movement. You're starting to get good weight shift. I haven't even talked to you about weight shifts, and we don't want to try and talk too much about extra things because the body will adapt and work it out itself, especially your body. That's good. Couple more. Good. Excellent. Just like that. That's it. And when you give it extra, that's the key. You're not giving it extra by pulling your hands down. You're giving it extra more so by turning the body a bit quicker, which is great. That's what we want, okay? It separates everything really nicely. So the feel that I want to get, well, I want all my clients to be able to get is to feel like every shot becomes like a 100-meter pitching wedge. Whatever your pitching wedge goes, where it's a nice and easy shot, and you just feel like you've got that in control. Every shot should feel like that body-wise, okay? It'll be very different ball position and things depending on what club you're hitting and what shot shape you're going for, but generally the body should be working efficiently every single time. And that's what we're after, okay? Awesome, good.